Let's be
Okay, and we're live. What's up? Hello. Because I don't care about editing this. I don't give a shit. This is on the Tim Loves Movies channel, but we're just here because we were all sitting around and we were like, hey, that Joker movie, that was pretty good. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in full spoilers. Joining me tonight is somebody returning to Tim Loves Movies, Caleb Coho. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm excited to be back for like my 7th time at this point, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, it's been quite a few times.
Hall of
And then
Fame.
also returning, Cody the New Hope Newberry.
Hi.
Hi,
I love
yes.
this movie.
Yes, and then for the first time, I think, on Tim Loves Movies, Caleb will Mopeman.
Yeah, I actually get to come on when I don't have a super pretentious opinion, so this is nice.
That's 100% accurate. Okay, so here's the deal. We all saw Joker. I think I'm the only one who's seen it twice, but so I mean, I think that does factor into my opinion on the movie. Let's just give our base opinions, and then we'll just have a discussion about it. No real, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Order to this or whatever. We'll just have a discussion, but we'll all talk about our opinions. I gave the movie a 4 out of 5. I think it might creep up higher. I need to see it again. But the first time I saw it, I walked out and I messaged all you guys and I said, I don't know how I feel about this movie. There were things about it that I liked and things that there was nothing I actively disliked, but there was just some stuff that I was like, oh, I don't know. Like they did some stuff to my Batman and I don't know. And like, again, full spoilers for this. Like some of the stuff they do, like I didn't feel like we needed Bruce Wayne in this movie. Like I feel like I didn't need to see fucking the pearls again. Like I thought it was just kind of dumb at that point, and that I didn't love that at the first time I saw it. But I saw it the second time the same day, and I loved it. So and I saw it twice on Thursday. So the more and more I think about it, it's been 3 days now. The more and more I want to see it again and see if it still holds up. But yeah, no, I love this movie. Let's go over to Coho.
Yeah, I think it's real great. I think Joaquin Phoenix is a superstar in this movie. Incredible performance. I think this is like actually a really solid cast. I thought Zazie Beetz was also really good. And I think overall, like this movie ended, and I was left wondering what I had just watched in like the best way. And my initial reaction was a 4 out of 5. And I left the theater and I thought about it for hours and hours and hours. And I thought about it for the rest of the day. And it became a 5 by the time I went to bed that night. Because I think the more I think about it, the more I love this movie and I want to see it.
Yeah. Cody, let's go over to you.
This is a 5 out of 5. I love this movie. I think this is very Scorsese influence, so it makes me love it even more. Definitely a Taxi Driver, king of comedy. Very like you can see it throughout it, and I love it. There's even parts of it that I think I like better than those two movies I mentioned, which I didn't think. I think Joaquin Phoenix is brilliant. I think the dude is insane. This movie makes you super uncomfortable at times. This movie makes you uneased, and that's beautiful. I will honestly say that I think it's the best origin of what Batman is, the start of it. Just because how Gotham is slowly declining, and this one shows it going off the fucking rails, and it's like where it leads up to why Bruce maybe does this fight of crime. Again, I wouldn't say that I love anybody else's really performance. Maybe Robert De Niro's performance, or maybe his mom. I don't know who plays his mom.
Penny Connery, right? Or Penny Fleck.
Penny Fleck is the name of the character.
Yeah, like who plays her?
Francis Conroy.
Okay, but I'm thinking the overall, like, there's no, like, standout, because this is Joaquin Phoenix's thing.
He's in every show.
He's literally the movie. The laughter, the creepiness, the scent and the madness, honestly, is beautiful. And there's literally a scene in the movie we'll talk about, but it literally made my mouth, like, drop open. I was like, this is brilliant. So, yeah.
Boatman.
Yeah, no, I really love this movie. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. It's very, as Cody said, very Scorsese influence, but it doesn't feel like a Scorsese knockoff, and I think that's important to know. Because while it definitely like was inspired by like especially the King of Comedy, it does its own thing. And I think every time, like, I was looking in this movie kind of for things that, like, I didn't quite like. And I was like, Zazie Beetz' performance, I was just like, I don't know about this. And then they made the reveal of, oh, this is his idea of her. This isn't actually her. Okay, she was playing it exactly the way she needed to then. Every problem I had with the movie told me, no, you're stupid for thinking this is a problem because we're actually doing this. 5 out of 5.
That was the part that my jaw dropped to the
Yes.
floor. I was like, oh. Like, I kind of knew it.
Perfect.
Because you kind of, like, see that set up because why would she be with him? Like, it makes sense.
Well, it wasn't even so, to me, it wasn't even so much why would she be with him. It was more so, like, certain things that she did. Like when they're, after he does his routine and they're looking at the newspapers and he's doing, like, he's trying to, like, imitate the clown face that's on the newspaper cover. And she goes, you know, like, those guys got what they deserved. I'd say the guy who did it was a hero or whatever. In my brain, I thought, okay, I could see how, like, maybe some, like, messed up person who, like, would think that. But at the same time, like, I felt like the movie was trying to be like, oh, okay, see, this girl that he's with is pushing him towards this madness. But then when you realize that that's just in his brain, that he wishes that she would say something like that to him, that's when that scene when he is sitting on the couch or whatever, and she comes in and is like, what are you doing here? I was like, why does she all of a sudden, like, oh, fuck.
In that moment when she, like, when the entire time he's joking, he goes, haha. And then in the when she realizes when we all realize that she doesn't know him the way that he knows her, and, like, he holds it up, the facial reaction of her, like, I literally felt like.
Do you think he killed her?
No,
I don't think he killed her.
Because it cuts from her kind of, like, backing up and cowering into a corner to him doing that, like, walk down the hallway, and they have that awesome shot, like, under him with him just, like, stomping down the hallway, but, like, you never really see what happens after that.
Yeah.
So,
I don't believe so at that point. But maybe, but I
it's
don't.
Possible.
That's one I don't believe that happened. But again, I've heard that before, that some people think that he killed her, but I didn't. This movie shows some brutality at times, so I figured they would show it if they were to. Be able. But
how do we feel about the violence as a whole? Because, like, when the first kills or whatever that he does on the train, like, wasn't, like, I kind of saw it coming, so, like, it didn't really, like, shock me, and yeah, it was bloody or whatever, but it didn't, like, it's weird. It's like a lot of people are talking, and we can get into it if we want, the whole controversy about this movie, but, like, the violence didn't really, like, bother me because I saw it coming every time until the end.
Right.
It was everything from being on Murray on that, like, that violence. That was the stuff that got me, of him, like, shooting Murray, like, and so on and so forth. That was the violence that got to me. But everything before it felt kind of like I saw it coming. So
it was very.
How do you guys feel about that?
I think the scene with Randall got really dark. I think when he stabs him in the neck, that is so uncomfortable and so bloody. Like, I knew it was coming, but it was still, the way they did it was so uncomfortable. And then the uncomfortable moment with I can't remember the character's name, but the little person and him just wanting to get out the door.
Yeah. Arthur, can you get the door?
Yeah. He's like, you've always been kind to me. Yeah. And then, but, like, when you see the blood splatter on Arthur's face and he's like, ah, like, laughing like uncontrollably, you're like, dude, this is fucking psycho. The only thing that I honestly didn't even think the Murray stuff, like, when he shot him in the head, like, that was brutal because you see it, like, clear as day. But he even, like, does Joker-esque things, like, he shoots, like, behind, like, he does the little shoot, like, thing that Joker does, like, you know how in, like, Jack Nicholson 89 where he, like, shoots under the leg and stuff like that, does a little ha 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 thing. So he, like, had that esque of Joker, but this was actually bullets connecting instead of in the old ones. You never see bullets or blood or anything like it because that's just where it's rated. Honestly, like I put this on the same level. Like what I expected was Taxi Driver. The amount of blood, like at the end of Taxi Driver, I expected like them just to pour out blood at certain points of this movie, and I didn't see too much, and that bothered me. The hardest part was the Randall stuff because he was just so calm in his moments where he did it, but it was just like, oh, you're just a little too calm for me just to sit there and watch him bleeding out and like go on as normal. So like, the violence didn't bother me in this movie. I think what really bothered me was more Joaquin Phoenix's like movements and stuff in this movie, like how thin he looked at times, how like it was unsettling. I think the entire movie, but the violence was not one that really deterred me.
I love the way that in 2 hours we got the person that we have at the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, because clearly from the beginning, like, he's an unhappy, disturbed person, and you can tell that from the opening shot of just him doing the smile and the tear like coming down or whatever. But then when like it was during the part where he's imagining he's on Murray's show and he's standing there and he's like, I live right here in the city and I live with my mother. And then when everyone laughs at him, he's like, I take good care of my mother. And he's just being so like, don't make fun. I'm a nice person. And like, I was like, this guy, like, I feel bad for this guy. Like, he's messed up. Like, clearly, like, he's going behind an alley and stomping a bunch of garbage. And so like, he's clearly like to get out his anger. So clearly there's something a little like off there, but like you feel for him, and by the end of the movie that's like the ultimate question is just like, oh fuck, like I don't want to feel for this person anymore because he's gone like completely off the rails. So they did a great job of like getting him from a person you can kind of be a part of to fuck, I want nothing to do with this person. I think they did a really good job of that.
They do a really great job of him going from a man to the Joker. He is the Joker on the Murray Show, and it's down to the way he speaks and the mannerisms he has.
Murray,
like specifically like this piece where he like goes off about like the rich people in the city and like that monologue that he goes on is so perfectly Joker that I was like, we're here, we got here, and from here I'm like ready for the roller coaster that's about to follow.
I think it's the descent into madness that was beautiful of this movie, because like Taxi Driver, even Bickle, like already starts a little cuckoo. Like and you see that with Arthur. He starts, but you can just see as somebody that wasn't loved enough or left, to fend for himself and on these medications. And his mother he's having to fend for his mother, and he wants to have a better life, but honestly, it's just not connecting with him. And he just got fired. So you see this descent, and then this descent into madness. Like, I think one of my favorite shots is it's on the poster, it's on everything, but when he like is in full Joker and like he's on the stairs and he's like dancing around and you're like, and then you see the cops up there. I like his mannerisms were so Joker-esque. Like even when he ran down hallways, like to get away, he stole the file and he bolts down the hallway. Like that's such a Joker run. Like I thought going into this, Taron Egerton deserved the Oscar for Rocketman. I just thought so. That's my belief. It's Joaquin Phoenix's to lose by a billion miles. I don't think there's even a question at this point. I don't even care what else comes out. It is almost damn near impossible in writing that he does not. It's the first. I don't know if it's the first Oscar. I can't say that because I'm terrible at trivia.
He's been nominated 3 times.
No, but it will be the same character winning 2 different
second time after De Niro and Brando for Vito Corleone. Godfather 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm telling you right now, it is effing insane how he does this movie. This movie is his. No one out. Like there's chess pieces, but he plays the part, and that entire his mannerisms scare the shit out of me in this movie. Like that's
and the other. It's also like getting past the fact that just like he's amazing. I also didn't know that Todd Phillips could direct a movie like this. Like he directs the shit out of this thing, and the cinematography is excellent. The score is fucking beautiful. Like there's so much everything.
It could
kind of
definitely
comes
win. It
together.
should win the score too. It's
Yeah.
that score stays. I'm a awful person when it comes to score in movies. I will literally they go unnoticed most of the time for me. Like I'll notice like iconic ones or something like, oh, this is a pretty cool moment. This score has literally stayed with me since the movie ended, and I've never said that before. I think this movie is like the beats that this played. I think the subway, like the shots after and that score kicks in, is
And he's dancing
freaky.
in the bathroom, like
Incredible score.
one of the,
I cannot pronounce her name. It's like Hildur Gottendaughter, I think, but that's probably
who
a
did the
butcher.
score? Yeah, I don't know what else she's done, but
I don't
one
know
of the
she's done much.
things that they were talking about on their review on Collider Live, I think it was Roxy who said it was like she noticed that like there was gonna be like a bunch of like not popular songs, but like when the song like the that he dances to on the steps or whatever that's in the movie, and there's like all these songs in the movie, but by the time like you get to them at the end of the movie, like that like weird transition is so earned of like, because normally that would be like a song that would play like in fucking Suicide Squad to Jared Leto, but by the time that you get to that point in this movie, like it just matches up with what has happened so far. So like everything musically, like whether it was the score or a song that they put in, it just like matched perfectly. Like they got it. They understood.
It's almost like he didn't earn it until he became Joker. Like he didn't earn like the extra like over the top music to end. You just deserved like to be in this own pit of sadness and sorrow. Like that's where I've took it, and that's why the score is so good in this one. Bowman, you had your hand up. Sorry.
Oh no, I didn't really have my hand up. I was more just, but to kind of go backtrack a little bit to your point about Todd Phillips, I will say Todd Phillips is why I was worried about this movie, because I don't like The Hangover that much. Like I think it's okay. I didn't like Old School. I don't like a lot of his
I
stuff.
thought War Dogs was good.
I didn't see War Dogs, so I can't say that.
I thought so. I'm same.
Again, I didn't see it, so I can't really judge on that. But ultimately, like, he was who I was like, I'm worried about him. And this movie made me eat my words. He's directing this perfectly. He knows exactly how to do it, how to set up all the shots. Everything is just, it's so well done. Like, everything he does.
Write it as well.
He and Scott Silver co-wrote it.
Okay.
I think it tells something about the movie that me and Tim were on call before Thursday, and I said I don't know if I want to I don't really care to run out and go see it and blah blah blah. And you're like, go see it. You'll like it. You don't want it to overhyped for you, blah blah blah. And to go in with lower expectations, because it's a problem in this film community that everybody sucks at movies. Builds it up so high that it's just like, this movie's amazing, you have to go see it and blah blah blah, and then you see it and it doesn't live up for it. Like, so when they said it won at TIFF and it did this and it's this and it got a standing ovation, I'm like, cool, but is it going to actually live up to it?
Yeah.
And this movie, like, I almost consider this movie overperforms. Like, this movie, like, is better than what I thought it should have been. Like, with the direction going into it, with everybody thinking a villain movie, why do a Joker standalone that makes no sense? Like, why do it? Like, and to see where it is, like, this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I just want to keep watching it. To be completely honest,
Yeah.
like I know that you guys are saying this might not be one you want to keep like rewatch. I think Boatman, you said that before we got on call, but like I just want to go see it again.
I almost want to see it again to see what you pick up on, like the little things that you didn't notice the first time. Like, there are things that are so quick in this movie that happen that you could miss, like a character gesture or like a movement, or there's people that are like, what, you didn't see that? Like that, you know, that he wasn't actually in love with her, or like this wasn't actually happening. No, I was so enthralled with the movie, I had no flipping idea. And then he's just sitting there in the thing, and you're like, you're not supposed to, or you're in the wrong place. And like, no. And then at the end, the Joker thing, and then sitting there talking to the person at the desk and like, you want to tell me the joke? You wouldn't get it. and like
Oh yeah, you would get it.
walks out with the blood all over his shoes. Like you're like, oh my gosh! Like it's just like the Joker in general. Like you leave the Joker in a wrong situation, he's going to get his way out of it, and he's going to kill somebody. Like they made the Joker like what he actually is, like a brutal murderer. Like he honestly is.
Yeah, one of the things that like I don't want to say disappointed me, but like earlier I said the first time I saw it, there were some things about it that I wasn't in love with or that I wanted to see. And this, I think, comes from the marketing, is that they did a lot of shots of like him in the full makeup. So like that's only like the last like 20 minutes of the movie, but they put it a lot in the marketing, which makes sense. So there's like the shot of him like waiting to go on stage and he's smoking the cigarette, and then the like him dancing, and then him in the cop car, and so they like take a lot of it. And even the part with him on the train, and you see everybody with the clown masks on the train, you don't really know what the deal with the clown masks is prior to seeing the movie. You don't really realize that it's like the riot thing. So in my brain going into it, I was like, he's going to become the fucking Joker like an hour into this thing. And then there's going to be like the second half is going to be like the cops are trying to stop the Joker. That's what I was expecting. And so when like all that stuff was happening at the end, it kind of went so quick that I think my expectations were subverted, and I was like, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting or kind of wanted. But then when I saw it again and I knew what I was getting, and I could just sit back and enjoy and not be like, you know, super ultra Batman fan here, like I was able to just take it in and be like, this movie's fucking fantastic. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I think this movie like should have survived without Batman. Like people were like, it needs Batman, like it needs it needs an antagonist. But like this is a movie that works perfectly by itself. And I'm with you. I think the marketing sucks for this movie 100%. I think the box office and the amount of people that went to go see it are not knowing what they're going into. My theater had a very different reaction to it because they see the title Joker. That means one thing to 99% of the people. That's a Batman movie. That's with Joker is involved in it. Batman's there. Like, and no, like Bruce Wayne's there. Most people are like, should he have been there? Should he's not? I like the actual story, but this movie survives a villain story. I'm kind of excited because I think this does a lot for other villain movies that could come down the pipe. I think it could also be a bad thing, but I could also see it a very good thing that you could see some villains with some different origins that actually pay off. But like, I think the marketing of this movie is terrible because
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I just think like the full makeup, the clown, they don't see the descent into full madness like this. He doesn't start as the Joker. He has no inclination of being the Joker. He doesn't get he doesn't kill the first person or like become like that part of it to like 40 minutes into the movie. Like it's not.
It's a little earlier than that. But,
okay, he kills it, but at that point, like he's not fully like he doesn't really understand what he fully did. And then I love the side story of like Thomas Wayne and
the Thomas Wayne
that
cool.
being the that's my dad, and like the yelling in the bathroom being like, you're just my dad.
When he's like I just want, some decency. Everyone's being mean and I don't know why you're being like this, and I just want some decency, Dad. And it's like,
why don't you hug me, Dad? And then it just punches him in the face,
breaks his fucking nose.
I'm actually, there's something, Cody, you said, so little peek behind the curtain. I work for a movie theater. A lot of you guys know that watch my channel, but both times I saw this were in private screenings. The first time I was by myself. I was the only person in the theater, and the second time I was with Maggie and maybe like 6 other people that I all work with. So I haven't seen it in a public setting. So Cody, you kind of alluded to yours a little bit. Boatman, how was your theater's reaction to the movie?
I was kind of surprised that people weren't more shocked, I guess. Like there were a lot of clear audible reactions to moments, but I think they were all like the appropriate reactions. Like they were like, there were obviously like gasps during like the Randall scene and like different moments, but I think that's kind of the reaction that the movie's going for. The one thing, And I mean, I'm not the type of person to, tell somebody how to parent, but somebody brought their like 9-year-old to the movie, and I thought that was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's
But
not
like,
good.
This is not a kid's movie, like
Yeah,
at
no.
all. This is no superhero at all, like at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, my theater experience was a little different. I went with my friend, and me and my friend went and saw this, and it was a pretty packed theater, and everyone there, I think, expected a very different movie. So me and my friend leave going, that was fucking awesome. And like, my friend wasn't expecting he hadn't seen a trailer for it. And so he walked out and he thought it was great. But there were people down the road from me who were like talking and making fun of the guy the entire movie. There are people on my right that after the movie was done were like, I think I agree with him. I was like, I'm scared to live where I live now.
Yikes.
So yeah. My viewing experience was weird, but I loved it. It's like the perfect viewing experience for a Joker movie, I guess.
Something
Go
I want
ahead,
to
chaotic,
bring up
kind of chaotic.
that Coho just mentioned, and I want to know how you guys feel about it. How do we feel about what they did with the laugh?
I love it.
Love it.
Same.
Love it.
Yeah. I think that's the most brilliant way to do that. It was such a unique take to like give him like a medical condition where like he has to laugh.
Well, I honestly think he had to.
Mhm.
He had to do something complete. They had the biggest task probably in a long time in cinema to do. The character of the Joker has been ruined since 2008, obviously. Heath Ledger, to most people, killed that performance. And Jared Leto was a clear sign of people are not ready for like a different kind of Joker. I wouldn't say he copycatted Heath Ledger at all. I would say he tried his own little approach to it, and it didn't work.
Very different. It's just weird.
It didn't work. For them to go like a complete almost like comic kind of not saying this laughs the same, but like a complete back to just the clown himself, that laugh, it's unsettling. And I'm glad it wasn't like the high pitched cackle of a Mark Hamill or a Jack Nicholson or a Heath Ledger. He made it his own, and when he handed out that card to people. And the thing to the cops or whatever, he goes, "Is this a real condition? What do you think?" And goes inside. You're like, "This dude's going. The switch has been flipped."
Especially because that part made me think, "Is it? I think so." But at that point, you can't trust anything about this movie.
Well, it's not only you guys alluded, that it's a medical condition, but it's not only the fact that it's a medical condition. It's a medical condition supposedly caused by the fact that he was beaten and tied to a radiator and malnourished and got his head caved in by his mom's boyfriend. And so the fact that that's the reason that his life has just been a disaster this whole time. And then when he does make that switch to Joker, he never goes, because every time that he gets right before he does his set and he's coughing almost, he's laughing so hard that you can hear his voice and his throat straining because he's laughing so hard. Once he becomes the Joker, officially makeup, full suit, every time he laughs, it's almost like he's in control of it, which is the scary thing.
Yeah.
And when he's on Murray's show and Murray says something, makes a joke about him, and he just sits there and does the the way he moves his jaw too, I can't replicate it, but he sits there and he just kind of does a and it's all fake and just but it's it's fucking insane what he did with the laugh. I love it.
Yes.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you when he's like, "Yeah, I don't know why everything's a big deal of me killing those 3 people, blah blah blah." You killed them? Yeah, of course I did. Why? They're bad people, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. And then looks at him, Murray, and then he's like dumb motherfucker, like you, and then turns and you're like,
do we want to dig into dig into the controversial parts of this movie that everyone's freaking out about on the internet?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so
I like to piss off the internet.
Yeah.
Maggie, actually, I wish she was here, but she's a sleepy sleep in the next room. But so she liked the movie a lot. I think she liked it more than she thought she was going to. But her big problem, which I think is a lot of people's problems, is, does the movie condone violence? Does the movie give people today, like people like shooters and whatnot, like a character to latch onto to say like, oh, this person did this in this movie and it was glorified, and that means it's okay for me to do it. And basically that scene that you were just talking about, Cody, where he turns and is basically just like, look, you created me, it's your fault. You didn't. I don't remember word for word what he says, but he basically says like,
you brought me on the show to make fun of me. Like,
you brought me on the show to make fun of me. You created me, so it's okay for me to do this. Is basically what he says. We're in agreement of that. That's basically what he says. Whether or not we agree with that,
yes,
that's what he says. And so Maggie's whole thing is, it makes sense in the context of the movie, but
I think
it's not a message that we probably needed to send, because the message can be taken different ways. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I happen to believe I don't think that's the case, and I think that most people, again, are smart enough to watch a movie called Joker about the DC villain and know that he was killing people in 2008 with a pencil in the head, and that he's always been violent and murderous and crazy and wild.
I think this tells a totally different story than, and actually is like really good for the culture that we're living in. That mental illness is an honest thing going through, and it told in the perspective of people struggling with mental illness to a strong degree in this one. When somebody is abused and somebody is beaten down and somebody is like, they put the Joker in real life. This is the whole point of the movie. Like, it was the same thing with Nolan's trilogy. That was set in a real life setting.
In Chicago.
Yeah, if Batman became Batman in real life, what would be the case? And like his drug obsession with the suit and stuff. Like, that's what Nolan's been on record to say that. I think this shows a real good story and like an outline of mental illness and the struggle that people have. And like, when people with mental illness do not get the proper treatment, the proper counseling, the proper support, like, things happen. And like, I'm not saying everybody turns to the Joker if you have a mental illness. That's all I'm saying. But like, untreated mental illness is a problem in the society, and that's depression. That's anything. And I think it tells a beautiful story. Like, it's not a beautiful story, but it's like, it shows like what happens. And I think instead of touching on it, because they could have just made a Joe Schmo, they could have made him not have the abuse from the boyfriend, and like, he could have just become the Joker and started killing folks. He could have just became the killer clown. But like, to show that he actually came from a backstory and was deprived and treated wrong his entire life and snapped. I think it tells a really good snapshot of what society we're living in right now, honestly.
Yeah, because I feel like there's plenty of movies out there where, like, well, maybe not plenty, but there's got to be movies out there about the same thing that are about nobodies, but you make a movie about the Joker and it's automatically going to get more eyes on it. And I think that's a lot of people's problems. One of you said something. I don't know which one of you said.
It was me. If you want to go ahead.
No, go ahead, Bowman. Go.
Okay. So I also think it's about exactly what Cody said. I also think it's about Thomas Wayne and all the politicians of Gotham created an environment in which the Joker could take advantage of the poor and the mistreated and the rest of Gotham. He created an environment where people felt like they couldn't, survive on their own. And I think that's kind of an important thing, for basically everybody to keep in mind. But I think it's just such an interesting dynamic. It's just kind of saying that, hey, there are people here that, that are going to get it taken advantage of by other people. And I think that's just very interesting.
I think that touches back to what Tim said too. It's like, you created me. You're upset with the life that I'm living right now for killing those people, but you made me. So like, I think that's a true point too.
And I think the movie makes sure that it's a cautionary tale. I think the whole movie feels like they make it so unsettling and so unnerving to watch that you kind of understand, like, this is probably not the person you ought to be.
Well,
like when you watch him the whole time.
But that's the point, is that like we pick up on that,
True.
but somebody in your row didn't, like you said earlier.
Yes, but
so
I think
that's the scary thing.
I would also say that's almost all media. There's something in almost all media where you can find something that you can latch on to that is taken a different way. I don't think these people made this movie to be this way.
No, I don't either. And don't get me wrong, I don't agree. I don't really agree with the whole thing, but they're targeting a specific issue that is very prevalent right now in the world. And so I think that's why some people are getting a little about it, because the issue of people who are mentally ill, who take guns and shoot people, that's what's in the movie. And I could understand how someone could watch this movie and think that this movie was glorifying that.
And I think this also circles back to the debate that's been had for a while now of, when you make art, are you responsible as the artist to make your art equally responsible and to be sort of not to make something that's going to be detrimental to society or harmful to others, or are you responsible to your vision and to the art to make the story and the picture that you really want to tell? And that's a debate that I think it's been going on for a while that it comes back to.
I think it's just a bold time to put it out, honestly, because it's at a mass right now. It seems like every week something's in the news with something else. So I think it was a bold strategy to put it out. I can definitely see it backfiring and causing more trouble. But again, this sounds really rough, but crazy things are gonna happen. Like, I don't think the movie's gonna strike more than what we already have.
If it wasn't this, it'd be something else, is what you're saying. If it wasn't this, it'd be something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you said that it could backfire. It kind of, a little bit already has. If you look at when the movie came out of festivals, it was like 90, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh. In the 5 days since it came out, it is now at a 69%, I think, and it lost its certified fresh rating. So, there are some people who aren't digging the movie and aren't supporting it, which is their right to do. So.
Yeah, I get it for the subject matter if you're not okay with it, but like you said before, in 2008, he shoved a pencil through someone's head. In 2008,
he made three people kill two others with a pool cue. So.
Yeah, he broke a cue stick in half and said, "Fight to the death. Only one's coming out." Cool, awesome. He put a bunch of people on a boat and killed a bunch of people.
He blew up a hospital.
The one that they haven't shown, he literally took Robin
and beat him to death with a crowbar.
So the Joker has never been sane, never will be sane. The Joker is one of the worst villains of all time. It's just facts of life. He probably is the worst. But the thing is, I think it's going to. Critics are going to hate on things that are subject matter. I think looking back in 20 years, looking back at this movie, if they watch it with actual glasses, I think they see the movie of the brilliance of what the movie is now. But in this time and day and age, things that can affect things, and it has affected things.
Well, and I think that's also part of it is the fact that the movie is taken so seriously. And as Boatman said, either earlier or on since we've been recording, I don't remember. It's the least comic book movie that we've seen pretty close to ever. And so it's taken so seriously, and it's made so differently than other comic book films that I think that does put a lens on it. Where if this movie was all like, if it was Dark Knight-esque, it wouldn't be as much. Or if it was PG-13, it wouldn't be as much of an issue.
Yeah. I'm just pissed that this is the only version of this Joker I get to see.
I was just gonna
Exactly.
ask you that.
Yeah.
So Boatman, you're probably the least comic booky fan that we've got here. Do you want to see another version of this movie, or like, do you want to see another movie, a Joker movie, or like, is this it?
I don't want like a direct sequel to this, but like if this character showed up in another movie, I would be okay with that. But like ultimately, I'm not sure what you can do because this creates such like a not comic book movie world. Like this world, you can't really have a big action climax in this world that this movie created. You can't do that. So I don't know how you do another movie with this. I like this movie a lot, and I want to see a movie as good as it. But I just don't think it's possible to do another movie with this character. I really don't know how you do it.
I sadly agree, because I would love nothing more than Robert Pattinson to show up and break Joaquin Phoenix's face in a movie as Batman and Joker, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I think there's always a world in which you can find the right story and the right way to continue anything. I think it'd be really interesting to try and take this Joker and make another movie that's almost completely different, but with the same character, is to maybe do an actual like Joker-style horror movie in Arkham Asylum, or an actual just take a Batman movie but put it from the Joker's perspective, and follow the case from the perspective of the Joker. And like we've always seen what Batman does in The Dark Knight, you follow Batman, you see what Batman does. Imagine doing The Dark Knight when it's entirely from the Joker's perspective. It'd be so different. The first time that he meets Batman from the Joker's perspective, what does that even look like? I think there are ways to make these stories work, especially if Joaquin and Todd Phillips are into it. Like if everyone is willing to come back and try again, I think there's a world in which you can make a sequel that I would be interested to see in a heartbeat. I want to see Joaquin back 100%.
In my dream world, what I told Maggie was I want to see a second movie, Matt Reeves's Batman movie. So I want to see that movie, and then at the end of Matt Reeves's Batman movie, you get a tease that he's in this same world, but you don't know that going in. So you don't know that it's the same world going into it. And then at the end, you get the tease that he is, and then the third movie is the two of them colliding. I think that
imagine the end of this movie just being him going back to like Crime Alley, and like you walk past like the closed down billboard or whatever, and it flashes back to the actual scene from the Joker. Because let's be real, that is my favorite depiction of those murders, and I never needed to see it again. I think that's the best it's been done, because it's in a world where we've seen that done so many times. This was the most refreshing take on it.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't agree with that take, but that's okay.
But I think the reason why is because we've seen them die, and it's sympathetic, and you're always like, oh no, these people. But this time you're kind of like, oh, I mean, Thomas Wayne, you might have done this to yourself a little bit, like just a little bit. And like you sit there and you're like, and you kind of see them just like referencing things that have been like the Joker literally saying the thing that the Joker literally just said on TV, and taking them out, and you're like, shit. He created a world. This world has descended to this place now, and to put it in a different context and under a different lens, I really like that touch.
Oh, I agree with that, but from a shot-to-shot perspective, it's no different than any other version with the fucking pearls flying. No,
I agree, but I think the context in which that scene is everything, and I think this might be my favorite version, but that also might just be because it's not Zack Snyder's slow motion Larry Fong pearls hitting the ground with the gun going off with a close up on the barrel as the bullet flies out or whatever. You know, it's not shot in this like intimate, slow motion, painful way. It's quick, it's emotionless, and it's over.
Yeah, it's presented like a fact of life. Back to the whole like sequel thing. What I want more than a sequel is I want more character-driven comic book movies that don't feel like they need to have an action scene every
Yeah.
5 minutes.
This
I
movie
want
wasn't
more
engaging enough.
character
No.
studies. What?
This movie was super fucking engaging with maybe one action scene if you count the train scene as an action scene.
Which the train
Yeah.
scene was like. I mean, which one? The one where he's running.
The
for
second
police?
one, the one where
Yes.
when he's full Joker, yeah.
That was. I love that scene. I think that is an incredibly well directed scene.
What other characters, Boatman, do you think could benefit from a movie like this?
I mean, I'm not a big comic guy, like, so I don't know exactly. I feel like, again, I don't know. I feel like there are tons of characters that you can just take this idea of the character and just kind of do it with the Joker, where you don't do it like exactly comic book faithful, but
if you
just
do something like it's a little more of a wacky character, but if you want to take a character that has not been looked well upon in the public eye as far as his live action appearances go, you could do a kick-ass descent into madness for Victor Freeze, aka Mr. Freeze, because like
Maybe.
his story is tragic of like his wife dying, and so he tries to cure his wife and becomes like a supervillain. Like that you could do something.
I think something that I've wanted to see for a long time, and maybe it's because like Superman's my favorite, and I think like this character can be done super interesting, is Lex Luthor. I think if we did a Lex Luthor movie, a very Aaron Luthor, Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor. He's Lex Luthor. That's literally his name. Lex Luthor.
Everybody
It's with an O. It is with an O.
I know, but everybody pronounces it Luthor.
It's Lex Luthor. That's literally how they say it in everything. Anyway, but I think if you did like a Sorkin-esque sort of focus on this guy who in any other world is the hero. He only wants to benefit society and like bring humans up, and the reason why he hates Superman is because he spits in the face of everything he is, which is human achievement and human improvement and bettering society, because now they have a guy that they look up to that they don't need to be better because they literally have human perfection in an alien, and nothing bugs Lex more than that. And I think that's such an interesting movie.
Yeah, but then you need Superman to do that movie.
I don't think you need Superman in the way you need Superman. I think you can do Lex Luthor in a way where you can like do the first half. You guys go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, okay,
the first half of the movie can be the buildup of Lex in a way where it's like you see him become the self-made man, and at the turn of the movie, it's a world now where Lex has reached the pinnacle. And then Superman shows up, but it's not Superman he never has to fight Superman. He only needs to see Superman in this movie once, and that's at the end when Superman's like, "I know exactly what you did. You're the bad guy. You did something." And he's like, "I'm not afraid of you. I am the last brave man." And you do that like monologue between the two, where it's like a battling of the ideologies. I think that's the only time you ever need to see Superman in this movie.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I think
this isn't a pitch movie. We're talking about the best movie ever.
Okay, I'm sorry. I love the idea of a Lex Luthor movie.
Dude, Aaron Sorkin Lex Luthor is great.
Right?
That
Luthor.
You want Jesse Eisenberg to do it again?
Lex Luthor.
Luthor.
You want just Jesse Eisenberg to speak Sorkin's words again for you? He's already been Lex.
Jesse's not a terrible portrayal of that character. It's a very different take. I appreciate it.
He's like the Riddler and the Joker, and Lex Luthor had a crazy threesome.
Yes, and that's why I think he's a terrible. I think he's a terrible version of the real one. But I like his.
We're not talking about that. Joker.
Anyway, I think in the end, after I watch this movie more, I'm gonna appreciate the fact that like we're just getting a standalone movie, and that it doesn't need to connect, and we just have this movie, and we can write more questions for a regular DC category. For the first time in months and years in fandom. So that's exciting. Anybody else have anything they want to say about the movie?
The first just new movie in the DC category since Lego Batman.
I just wish he would have said, "Do you want to know where I got this makeup from?" at some point, but he never did.
But I thought at the end when he takes the blood and puts it up on his, I thought he was like gonna cut his mouth up like he does in like his scars.
Oh wow, I got these scars. Yeah. So yeah, movie's fantastic. Go see it if you haven't seen it. It slaps, as Caleb Coho would say.
Yeah, it's totally fire,
toit.
bro.
It's toit.
It's tits.
Boatman, you got anything you want to close out with?
We live in a society. Knock, knock.
You want to hear a joke?
Fucking yikes.
Joke?
That's the joke you got?
Murray.
You have to write that down?
Okay.
Alright. Can you introduce me as Joker?
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker? God, he's so good.
Why?
Alright.
So great.
So good.
Give him the Oscar now. Give him the Oscar today.
Please.
Because that's what you called me, Murray.
Murray. Thanks for watching, guys. I don't know when the next video will be. Get over it.
Go to Multiplex and watch
Joker, go to
Multiplex Loves Movies every week.
every Tuesday at
Every
8
Tuesday.
EST.